Hi, I'm Kendle Smith, financial advisor here at Pure. Today's topic is Biden's proposed infrastructure bill called the American Jobs Plan. I'll talk about what the White House is saying, what the critics are saying, how this affects you, and yes, how we're going to pay for it. Now, as of this taping, the bill is not yet law, but at Pure we like to be proactive instead of reactive, keeping you informed of all the possibilities and how you can be best prepared. So let's get into it. First, what are the goals of this proposed legislation? It is designed to reimagine and rebuild a new economy. It's set to create millions of jobs and to rebuild America's infrastructure by spending 1% of annual GDP, which would be about $2.7 trillion over the next 10 years. How will the money be spent, and what are the proposed projects this will fund? Well, there are 6 categories. Number 1, $621 billion in transportation and infrastructure, with improvements to public transit, railways, airports, ports, to modernize bridges, highways, and roads, and subsidizing the electric vehicle market. Number 2, $590 billion in domestic manufacturing, R&D, and job training, funding to modernize supply chains, U.S. semiconductor and clean energy manufacturing, along with climate change research. 3, $400 billion to expand home healthcare services for the elderly, with an emphasis on creating jobs and lifting wages for caregivers. 4, $400 billion in clean energy tax credits. 5, $328 billion to improve and modernize housing, schools, childcare facilities, and government buildings, part of which is designed to address housing for the homeless. 6, $311 billion in broadband, electrical grid, and clean drinking water, with the goal of every part of the country having access to high-speed internet, reliable electric power, and replacement of all lead pipes in drinking water systems. Now, the White House is saying this is the best thing for the country since FDR's New Deal. But what are the critics saying? One side says it's too expensive and not enough of the funds are actually going to rebuilding America's infrastructure and creating jobs. The other side says this bill doesn't go far enough to fight climate change or promote social justice. So how could this affect you and your retirement? Well, if you retire somewhere out in the boonies, you'll have good Wi-Fi and you can drink straight out of the tap again. Kidding aside, it may cost more than expected and taxes could go up more than proposed, or maybe all of the stated goals will be accomplished and we will end up with more jobs, better infrastructure, and a healthier environment. Either way, this bill comes with a pretty hefty price tag. And how are we going to pay for all this? And you guessed it, higher taxes. So alongside this American Jobs Plan, there is a proposed tax plan called the Made in America Tax Plan. This includes raising the corporate income tax rate from 21% to 28%, eliminating incentives for corporations to shift income to entities in foreign countries, enacting a minimum tax on corporate income, and ending subsidies for the fossil fuel industries. Notice that there's nothing in this plan about immediately raising personal income tax rates. It's primarily directed at corporations. And we don't think anything is going to happen overnight, and there's still a lot of red tape to get through to determine which industries, companies, or projects get funding first. And keep in mind, this is designed to be a long-term plan to be implemented over a period of 10 years. So that's just a quick glance at the American Jobs Plan, and rest assured that we'll be keeping an eye on it. At Pure, we're always looking at what's on the horizon and keeping you informed to help you make the best decisions for your financial future.